Hello there. This is Michelle Marchant Johnson with Love Life Coaching, and I'm here to share with you three things that men love about you as a woman. Now, as you know, my work is centered around helping you meet and attract the right guy and have the love life of your dreams. And in so doing, I provide a lot of opportunity for you to connect with me and with other experts that I feature. And most recently, I did the Man Panel back in June. And I just want to share with you that sometimes after I interview the male experts, I have little one-on-one conversations with them on a more personal level about their own lives or about their own relationships or about what has attracted them to the woman that they're with. And I just kind of wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the behind the scenes conversations that I had and some of the key things that I've pulled from that I thought you might enjoy. So one of the things that the men have shared with me are some of the things that they most appreciate or love about the women in their lives or women in general. And the first thing that I want to share with you is that these men have said in one way or another that women make them have the ability to feel emotions, to have feelings. Now, as you know, for many men, many masculine men, they're mainly in their heads. They're very outcome focused, very goal oriented, very much in the logical frame of mind and approaching life and approaching things from that standpoint for the most part. Now, this is not to say that men don't have emotions or feelings, because they actually have very deep emotions and feelings. But what it is to say is they're not always as connected with them, because that's not the way they're raised in society. That's not the way they're socialized. The big boys don't cry kind of mentality comes into play. And so one of the things that men have expressed to me is that women, because women can be more expressive, sometimes more emotional, sometimes more in their joy or in their body or pursuing their passions in a way that they're really lit from within. When a man is around a woman who's in that is operating or showing up with that kind of energy, it allows a man to begin to reconnect with some of his feelings, some of his emotions, and it's also one of the things that men have said have been incredibly attractive about women. Like when they see a woman really passionate about something she's doing or something she's pursuing, she's like lit from within because she's got that excitement and she's got that passion and she's got that energy. So it allows a man to start to reconnect with some of his emotions, his feelings, his passions, and he finds that incredibly attractive about a woman because it's oftentimes different than the mode that he's typically operating in. So that's one thing that that men have said they love about women. Another thing that men have said, so number two, is you give their life meaning and purpose. So I can remember years ago, I was dating a man and it was getting quite serious. Obviously, I didn't end up marrying him, but it was getting somewhat serious. And I can remember sitting across from him one night in a restaurant and we were talking, and he was talking about work and he was talking about some of the things that were weighing heavily upon his mind, kind of the pressure of keeping all the balls in the air of what was going on in his life at that time. And he said, Michelle, he said, I've thought about it a lot. And he said, really, it's the woman that makes this all worth it. Like what he was saying is, if I'm in partnership with the right woman, all of this stuff that I'm doing, all of this pressure, trying to keep all the balls in the air, it would make it all worth it. And I can remember when I was interviewing Evan Mark Hatz for one of my events, and he actually said something that really touched my heart. He got quite emotional about it, and he was talking about how lonely it can be to be a man. He was talking about how men don't typically bond or connect in the way that women often do. It's kind of the slap on the back, hi buddy, or how's it going dude, or that kind of thing. They might bond over a sports team, or, you know, some other kind of passion. They might go out to a bar together and spend some time together, but they're not typically having really deep, meaningful conversations. They're not really typically connecting in a way where they really know a lot about what's going on in each other's lives or each other's challenges or struggles. And in fact, because it can be such a competitive world, in certain ways, they're not always really happy for each other when another man succeeds, because they're taught to be in competition from a, you know, societal point of view in many situations. And so he was sharing with me and talking about how lonely it can be, and even men that have what are called good male friends or buddies, they often don't connect or feel like they have any outlet for really sharing the deeper sides of themselves, the deeper things that are going on in their lives. And Evan was expressing this to me, and of course I'm paraphrasing this, but he said at the end of this little piece that where he was talking, he said, if we don't have you, what do we have? Like, what is it that really makes it all worth it? Like this former boyfriend of mine was once saying years ago, if they don't have you, for the average man, what do they really have? And for a lot of men, they are very lonely. It's like a chronic situation for a lot of men, and very painful to think about that there's perhaps not that outlet for them to really share themselves, share their emotions, share their feelings, or to really feel. So that's another piece that the men have shared with me. And the third piece that I want to share is you make them want to be better, even inspire them to greatness in many cases. So there's the old adage that says, behind every great man is a great woman, that sort of thing. And in many situations, I think that is really true, because I do believe that a great woman with a good man can inspire him to even more greatness. She can inspire him to be that version of his best self. And many of the men that I've interviewed over the years in my man panels, and just other men that I've interviewed outside of the man panel, have shared with me how their lives became better or more or bigger as a result of being partnered with the right woman, and how much they appreciate that, because they're inspired to be that better or higher version of themselves by you as a woman. And this is not by anything that you really have to do. This is just by you being the most lovely version of yourself, being that lovely, feminine, radiant, beautiful version of yourself. It's not so much about anything that you have to do. It's about who you're being. And I just wanted to share this with you because some of these things really touched me in having these conversations, and it's kind of the behind the scenes, if you will, of some of the conversations I had with the men that I interviewed on the man panel. And they just expressed how much they appreciate you, each of you, as a woman, and wanted me to share with you in the man panel and in other ways their deep appreciation for you and how much they value what you bring into their lives. And I wanted to mention this also because I sometimes feel like there's a perception that men are not as interested in relationships, or they're not as important to them. And while I do think there's some differences in how they're socialized and how they approach things and that sort of thing, the message I've received from so many men is that having the right woman in their life is not only important, but it literally can make their lives so much better, and it brings them so much happiness and so much more meaning and purpose to their lives that they can't imagine life without it. So I wanted to share that with you, and I hope you enjoyed this little behind the scene glimpse, and I'll be sharing more regular content with you on a weekly basis moving forward. I'm sending you love, blessings cheering you on, and I invite you to put a comment below and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'm going to start putting out regular content and I would love to have you join me. Lots of love for now. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.